on session. The Honorable David Stansbury presiding.
Good morning. Please be seated. Okay, we are on the record in 23 CRB 01298, and it's captioned the State of Ohio versus Jennifer, is it Imbimbo?
Yes, sir.
And a record to reflect the defendants here in the courtroom today without counsel. We have Mr. Cox here on behalf of the State of Ohio, and we're here for the purpose of addressing the defendant's application for diversion. The court has received paperwork from the probation department recommending that the application be approved, and that's been endorsed by Mr. King, acting on behalf of Mr. Cox. The court finds that the defendant is an eligible offender and she's an appropriate candidate. On that basis, I will grant the application and place her on diversion status. However, Ms. Imbimbo, did the bailiff explain to you, and did you understand from your arraignment that in order to be placed on diversion, you are required to enter a plea of guilty?
Yes, I understand.
And you're not required to go for diversion. You realize that, right? Meaning,
Right.
you could stand on your plea of not guilty. You're presumed to be not guilty of this offense, and it's always the prosecution's burden to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
I understand.
You have a right to be represented by an attorney, and if you could not afford one, we'd give you one at absolutely no cost to you. I have a form here entitled Waiver of Attorney or Attorney Waiver. It has your name, case number, and what looks to be your signature on there. Did you review that form?
Yes, sir.
Did you read it and understand what it said?
Yes.
Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And is it your intention to waive your right to an attorney?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whether you have a lawyer or whether you don't have a lawyer, Ms. Imbimbo, you have a right to a trial with a judge or a jury. Do you understand?
Yes.
And did you know that at that trial you could question the witnesses against you?
Yes.
Did you also know that you could subpoena your own witnesses to require their attendance at your trial?
Yes.
And you would have had a right not to testify if you didn't want to, and had you elected not to do so, couldn't have been held against you in any way. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you plead guilty, that's a complete admission of guilt. That means that you're no longer presumed to be innocent. The state no longer has a burden of proof, and you'd be giving up those rights that we've just discussed. Do you realize that?
Yes.
Now, because I've granted your application for diversion, if I accept your plea here today, I'm not going to enter a conviction to this offense of theft. Rather, I will simply set your plea aside, give you an opportunity to successfully complete the diversion program, and if you're able to do so, the charge would be dismissed at the conclusion of the time you'd be on court supervision, which would be 1 year. And at that point, you'd be eligible to ask the court to seal the record that this charge was ever even filed. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that's obviously the benefit of being on diversion. You can avoid a conviction and seal your record. However, it comes at a cost, and that cost is your plea of guilty here today. If things don't turn out well on diversion, in fact, if you are unsuccessfully terminated from the diversion program, at that point I would take your plea and I would reinstate it, and at that time I would enter a conviction. Do you realize that?
Yes.
And if I were to do that, at that point I would also impose sentence upon you. The maximum penalties that you face for theft are up to 180 days in the county jail and up to a $1,000 fine, as well as court costs and possibly restitution. Any questions about that? Other than the benefit of being on diversion, has anybody promised you anything to get you to do this?
No.
Has anybody threatened you in any way to get you to do this?
No.
Are you currently under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or any medication?
No.
And are you a citizen of the United States of America?
Yes.
All right, very well. Court finds that your plea and your waivers have been knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily made, and I'll accept the same. It looks like the recommendation here is, if I can get to it, here we go. So the recommendations from the probation officer in charge of the program are that you not commit any further criminal offenses, that you successfully complete an online theft course through the probation department, that you perform 8 hours of community service, and that you not return to any Walmart or Sam's Club location while you're on the diversion program. Those seem to be relatively reasonable terms, and I see no reason to can't think of the word I'm trying to diverge? I don't know. Yes. So, that being said, what is your current address, Ms. Imbimbo?
980 Jason Court, Newark.
And are you employed?
Yes, I am.
Where do you work?
I work at Total Distribution.
And what do you do for them?
I'm a shipping and receiving supervisor.
Okay. Is that a day shift job?
11th mid shift, 11:30 to 8.
And you work full time?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I will simply adopt the recommendations from the probation department, place you under the supervision of that office for a period of 1 year starting today. You'll be required to successfully complete the online theft prevention class, and the PO will talk to you about that. You'll be required to complete 8 hours of community service within the next 60 days, and again, you'll coordinate that through your probation officer. You're to maintain suitable employment and not return to any Walmart or Sam's Club. I'm not going to explicitly state that you're not allowed to commit any new criminal offenses because that pretty much just goes without saying, right? Okay, fair enough. This is a good opportunity to avoid this type of a conviction because theft can really handcuff you in the future as far as job searches and things of that nature. So, take advantage of the opportunity, get it behind you, and move on with your life.
I appreciate that.
Any
Thank
questions?
you. No, sir.
Anything further, Mr. Cox?
No, thank you.
All right, very well. Bale's going to take you to the clerk's office, then you'll check in down in the basement. Court will stand in recess.
All rise. Licking County Municipal Court will reconvene.
Good afternoon. Please be seated. Welcome to Licking County Municipal Court. We always handle the jail cases first for those. So for those of you that are here in the courtroom, I appreciate your patience. Plus, I'll give you a little bit of a preview about how this will go for you. Officer Riley, are you there?
Ooh, no. I'm stepping in for Riley today.
Okay. You guys all set?
Yeah, we're all set, Judge.
Fantastic. Well, first up today is going to be Dylan Belt.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. Are you Mr. Belt?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand your rights in court today?
Yes, sir.
Did you receive a copy of the complaint that was filed against you?
Yeah, I did.
Did you read it and understand what it is you've been charged with?
I have.
It looks like the Heath Police Department is alleging that on or about November the 27th of this year, in the city of Heath and in Lincoln County, Ohio, that you did recklessly violate the terms of a protection order issued or a consent agreement approved pursuant to section 2903.213 or 2903.214, respectively, of the revised code. Commonly known as violation of protection order, it is a misdemeanor of the first degree, and it carries maximum penalties of up to 180 days in jail and up to a $1,000 fine. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And how do you wish to plead to that charge?
Guilty.
You want to do a guilty plea?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, before I can accept your guilty plea, I need to ask you a number of questions. If you change your mind about wanting to plead guilty, by all means, feel free to do so. My first question to you is, do you realize that you're presumed to be not guilty of this offense, and it's the state of Ohio that has the burden of proof here?
Yes, sir.
That burden is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Were you aware of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have a right to be represented by an attorney, and if you could not afford one, we would give you one at absolutely no cost to you if you qualified. The benefit of having an attorney is somebody who could identify whether or not you have any defenses to assert to the charge, or whether or not you have any motions that could be made on your behalf, and in general, basically try to look out for your best interests. Would you like to have an attorney's assistance in this matter?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, then let's do a not guilty plea. What is your current address?
455 Arlington Avenue.
Here in Newark?
Yes, sir.
Are you employed, Mr. Bell?
I actually have a job. I was supposed to have a job interview Tuesday at 8:30 in the morning.
And where's that?
I forget the first. It's first. It's like 2 letters, and it's something landscaping up in Zanesville. I got the address on my phone.
All right, let me take a look here at the file real quick, and then we're going to talk about your bond, so sit tight for me.
Alrighty.
All right, so Mr. Belt, I'm going to give you an opportunity to make a statement before I make any decisions about your bond, but I want to caution you about saying anything about what may or may not have happened which led to the charges themselves being filed, because everything you're saying is being recorded and could possibly be used against you. So with that understanding, is there anything you want to say before I set your bond?
Yes. I did not know that that lady, Jen Levesque, did work at Lowe's at the time that
Like
I
I
went
said,
in
you're
there.
probably not going to want to talk about what may or may not have happened because everything you're saying is being recorded and could be used against you. So without getting into that, is there anything else you want to say about bond?
No.
All right, so Mr. Belt, here's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go ahead and set your bond at $2,500. I'll make it cash surety or 10% with the condition that you have absolutely no contact either directly or indirectly with Jennifer Levesque. Now that's in addition to the restrictions that are placed on you by this alleged protection order, so they're kind of two different things. Now, you indicated that you thought you might want to have an attorney. Get an application form down there at the jail. Get it filled out ASAP. Your lawyer can petition whichever judge is assigned to this case to review your bond and possibly reduce it to a recognizance bond. I'm going to leave it as I said it today, but it can be lowered in the future. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so the case gets randomly assigned to a judge, set for a trial. We will send you notice by mail until and unless you get a lawyer. Then the lawyer gets the notices, and if you're unable to post your bond, then obviously they'll know where to come to meet with you to talk about how you want to resolve your case. Any questions today?
Yeah, what's 10%?
Well, whatever 10% of 2,500 is, they can tell you the particulars down there. Any other
Okay,
questions?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Belt, you may go with the officer. Thank you. Christopher Balduck. Good afternoon, Mr. Balduck. Do you understand your rights in court today?
Yeah, I do.
All right. You're here because Judge George issued warrants for your arrest in these two cases. Looks like one's been out there since all of 2 days ago, and the other one has been there since 2 days ago. So it looks like you were scheduled to appear for a change of plea and didn't
Right,
make
sir.
it. So what happened there?
I missed the court date, but I got the piece of paper. It's to do with change of court, which would be 30 days for each count. Pleading guilty.
Okay. Well, you have a lawyer?
Yeah, I did have a lawyer on this.
Okay. Yeah,
I
it looks
signed
like
the piece
Mr.
of
Brigden
paper.
was appointed to represent you.
Right, and I signed the piece of paper for 30 days for both charges. Time served, but I have to do 30 days.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say before I set your bond?
No, but that's what I'm in here for, right?
You're in here for, let's see, the one case is a theft and a criminal mischief, and the other case is just one count of theft.
Right, they're gonna run that 30 days time credit and serve, and
Well,
That's
that's
what I have
obviously
to do.
between your attorney, the prosecutor, and Judge George, since it's the case is assigned over there.
okay, so
What is your current address, Mr. Balduck?
115 Wilson Street.
So you're staying at the shelter, or are you just getting your mail there?
No, staying there, but now I'm staying here.
Right. No, right.
Stansbury, am I pleading guilty or asking for a continuance?
Well, actually, you're doing neither. Right now, all I'm going to do, the only authority that I have for your cases, because they're assigned to Judge George, is to set bonds on them and then refer the matter back to him. It was scheduled for a change of plea, so my hunch tells me that when you go see him, you're going to do a change of plea and get this stuff wrapped up. But when Judge George
Right.
issued the warrants for your arrest, he set bonds at $2,500, cash to your 10%. I'm going to go ahead and leave the bonds in that amount, and obviously, if this is the only reason you're in, and it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So, 1408. Yeah. So, if you're going to get jail time as a result of any regular, agreement that you guys have, this time will count. It's not going to be dead time. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. You have any other questions today?
No, you answered it. Thank you very much.
All right, you take care, Mr. Balduck. Good luck to you. We'll get Mr. Briggs
Thank
word
you.
about your situation. Kristen Culp. Good afternoon. Are you Ms. Culp? And Ms. Culp, do you understand your rights in court today?
Yes,
Did you receive a copy of your traffic citation?
I believe so.
Okay. Do you think they probably put it into your property?
Yeah, I assume so, yes.
Okay. Well, the Highway Patrol is alleging that on or about today at approximately 12:42 a.m., you were driving a red 2016 Cadillac on 11th Street near Granville Street here in Newark, Licking County, Ohio, while under the influence of alcohol and/or drug of abuse. It's alleged that that would be a first offense within a 10-year period, I believe. Let me verify that. Yeah. So the penalties would be as described in that video presentation. Did you understand that information?
I did.
Okay. And then you've also been charged with disobeying a traffic control device. That's a minor misdemeanor, and the maximum penalty is a $150 fine. So, you understand what the charges are?
I do.
And how do you want to plead?
Not guilty. I would like an attorney, please.
Okay, then let's go ahead and do a not guilty plea on your behalf today. What is your current address?
6629 Lancaster Road, Hebron, Ohio, 43025.
Now, do you have a P.O. box, or does the mail come straight to the house?
I do have a P.O. box. It's P.O. Box 583.
583,
Yes.
and that's in Hebron?
Yes.
Alrighty. Are you employed?
I am. I have a decent job in healthcare.
You a
I've
nurse?
never. I actually work as a technician. I do phlebotomy, EKG, medical assisting. I have multiple certifications, actually. I've never been arrested or in jail before, and I'm a single mom. I have a 9-year-old little girl at home, and her dad's on life support, and so obviously I would hate anything that would jeopardize her.
All right, tell you what, I'm going to glance through the court file here and the trooper's narrative report, and then we're going to talk about your bond. So just bear with me, okay?
Okay.
I changed it to, so good work at it. Well, the girl, they came here to me. Alrighty. Yeah, bye.
Alrighty, so... Alright, so Ms. Culp, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to release you on what's called your own recognizance. That just means you're going to sign paperwork promising to show up for future court hearings. Those notices of which will be mailed to you at the address that you put on your bond down there. So put down whether, if you get your mail at the P.O. box, make sure we have the P.O. box. If you get it at the house, make sure we get it sent to the house. You have the right to hire an attorney if you like. You can go court appointed. You can apply anyway. They have the application form at the jail, so you can grab one. But since you're getting out, if you are going to make that application, you have to submit it yourself. It goes to the clerk of court in the Newark City building. Now, it looks like you showed proof of insurance. Now, the only thing that kind of caught my eye was it's alleged that you refused to submit to a breath test, but then the narrative report says that you did submit to a urine test. But you've still been placed under an administrative license suspension, which means right now you can't drive. And if they're considering it a refusal, the administrative license suspension lasts for 1 year unless you get convicted and a court suspension overtakes it. So, excuse me, I guess what I'm saying is make sure you don't get behind the wheel until and unless you've been granted limited privileges. Understand?
Yeah, yes.
All right, because if you get caught driving on this type of suspension, there's mandatory jail time. Do you have any other questions today?
No, that's all.
Then you may go with the officer. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have Tracy Lee. Good afternoon. Are you Tracy Lee?
Yes, sir.
You understand your rights?
Yes, sir.
Did you get a copy of the complaint?
Yes, sir.
Did you read it and understand what it is you've been charged with?
Yes.
All right. The Newark Police Department is alleging that on or about December 28th of this year, here in Newark, Lincoln County, Ohio, that you, without privilege to do so, and with a purpose to hinder, obstruct, or delay the performance by a public official of any act authorized within that person's official capacity, did perform an act which hampered or impeded a public official in the performance of the public official's lawful duties, which is just a long-winded way of saying obstructing official business. Under Ohio law, that's a misdemeanor of the second degree, carries up to 90 days jail, up to a $750 fine. So do you understand what the charge is?
Yes.
And how would you like to plead today, Mr. Lee?
Guilty.
Before I can accept your plea, I need to go over a few things with you. The first of which is, do you realize that you're presumed to be not guilty? Nobody can force you to plead guilty. The state has the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and you have a right to a trial with a judge or a jury.
Yes, sir.
You have the right to be represented by an attorney. If you couldn't afford one, we would give you one at absolutely no cost to you. Was it your intention to waive your right to a lawyer, at least as it relates to this case?
No, sir.
Would you like to have an attorney?
Yes, sir.
No. Okay. All right. Well, even without an attorney, you would still have the right to cross-examine your accusers and also subpoena your own witnesses to require them to attend your trial. And you couldn't be forced to testify if you didn't want to, and it wouldn't be counted against you if you didn't. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, plea of guilty is a complete admission of guilt. If you plead guilty and I accept your plea, the state no longer has to prove anything in order for me to find you guilty, and furthermore, you would give up those rights. The only thing that would be left to do would be to go to sentencing and then wrap the thing up today. And that's how you want to resolve it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to do this?
No, sir.
Under the influence of anything right now?
No, sir.
And are you a citizen of the United States of America?
Yes.
Okay. Let me take a quick look at the file, and then if you want, you'll be permitted to make a statement on your own behalf, but you won't be required to. But I need to see exactly what you say happened.
Where do I get the paper for the attorney? Where do I get the paper for the attorney?
I need that too.
Okay. Anything you want to say about what happened?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you seen the? Oh yeah, it looks like you did. So they set a $150,000 bond on your felony.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, Mr. Lee, you have bigger fish to fry, quite obviously, so here's what I'll do. A 1-day jail sentence, credit for time served, $200 fine and costs, and I'll suspend the fine. So the only thing you've got left is court costs, and they'll tell you how much those are when you're down there. So any other questions today?
No, sir.
Very well, Mr. Lee, you may go with the officer. Good luck to you. Hunter Sharb.
I'll go back now.
Got one more.
Good afternoon, sir. Are you Mr. Sharb?
Yeah.
You understand your rights in court today?
Yep.
Did you receive a copy of the complaint?
Yep.
Read it and understand it.
Yep.
You've been charged with criminal trespass. The Newark Police Department alleges that on or about December the 28th of this year, here in Newark, Lincoln County, Ohio, that you, without privilege to do so, knowingly entered or remained on the land or premises of another. Criminal trespass is a 4th-degree misdemeanor, carries up to a 30-day jail term, up to a $250 fine. So, do you understand that that's the charge?
Yeah.
How do you want to plead today, Mr. Sharp?
I'm guilty.
Did you say not guilty?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your mailing address?
8150 Cedar Run Road.
I'm sorry, can you say that again for me, please?
150 Cedar Run Road.
Is that a Newark address?
Yeah.
And who lives there?
Me and my grandpa.
Oh, so you actually do live there, you don't just use it for mailing?
No.
Okay. Are you employed?
No.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, we're done. Ladies, look over everything's awesome. We'll take it back.
Right now?
Sheena and Jay.
Did you get arrested down on 5th Street?
Yeah.
D. C. Freeman. B. Yeah, you'll head back over there and we'll call for you.
All right, these three are upstairs, and then he's going back to the
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Sharp, I'm going to cut you loose on a recognizance bond on the condition that you not return to 87 South 5th Street here in Newark while the bond's in play. Now, the case will get randomly assigned to a judge set for a trial. Until and unless you get an attorney, notices are going to go to you by mail, so make sure the address that you put on that bond paperwork that you're going to sign down there is complete, current, and correct. If you get a lawyer, then the notices go through that person and you need to stay in close contact with them. You can get an application for court-appointed counsel down there at the jail, but since you're getting out, they're not going to turn it in for you. The key is, if you want to get a lawyer, deal with it right away. Do not wait until the day of your trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions today, Mr. Sharp?
No, sir.
Then you may go with the officer. Good luck.
I have a question. Is that the only charge I'm in here?
Brandon Ward. Brandon Ward? Good afternoon, sir. Are you Mr. Ward?
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Mr. Ward. Thank you for asking. Did you watch the video about your rights in court and understand the information?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you receive a copy of your traffic citation?
No, sir, I did not.
All right. Looks like the Granville Police Department is alleging that on or about this morning at about 12:44 a.m., they claim you were driving a white 08 Chevy Impala on State Route 16 near Thornwood Crossing within the village of Granville in Lincoln County, Ohio, while under the influence of alcohol and/or a drug of abuse. It's further alleged that you failed to maintain reasonable control of your vehicle. That second charge is a minor misdemeanor. Maximum penalty is a $150 fine. The first charge, the OVI charge, because it's, let's see. Okay. This is alleged to be a first offense within a 10-year period without any type of high-tier thing. So the penalties, and both the maximum and the mandatory, are the same as were explained on the video. Did you understand that information?
Yes, sir.
All right. How do you want to plead to these two charges?
No contest.
Okay. Now, a no contest plea is not an admission of guilt, and it cannot be used against you later on in any civil or criminal proceedings arising from the same matters. However, it's an admission of the truth of the facts that have been alleged against you. So if I read through the narrative report and there's enough in there that says, oh yeah, this guy was impaired, he was driving, and he didn't control, I would enter a guilty finding. So if you don't want to be found guilty, you need to enter a plea of not guilty. Do you understand?
Yeah, okay, I'm trying to.
Well, if you're not sure, I'm inclined to go ahead and enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf because that'll leave you all your options open. I'd be inclined to go ahead and release you on your own recognizance because you have no priors and there's nothing aggravating about the allegations like that, you know, you had a gun or a hostage or something like that.
Yes, sir.
So, I'll go ahead and enter pleas of not guilty on your behalf. What is your current address?
204 South Westmore, Newark, Ohio.
The only charge I'm in here on.
Is there an apartment?
A.
And that's, you say, in Newark?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Are you employed?
Not at the moment, sir.
When's the last time you were?
Last 2 weeks.
And where were you working then?
Dormer HVAC.
Okay. How long had you worked for them?
About 3-4 years.
Okay, alrighty. Well, as I said, you're going to be released on your own recognizance until and unless a lawyer gets involved on your behalf. All notices are going to go directly to you. You can either hire an attorney of your choosing, or you can go for court-appointed counsel. You can get an application there at the jail, but since you're getting out, and let me verify that in fact you are, who knows, maybe you did have a hostage in that car, and I just didn't know you got indicted already.
I hope I didn't.
Nope, you're in the clear. So, because you're going to get released, it's your job to turn in the application. Don't sleep on that until the day of your trial. If you want a lawyer, get on top of it. Do you have any questions?
Yes, sir. No, sir, I do not.
All right, Mr. Ward, you may go with the officer. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, not Officer Riley. Anybody else down there for me?
No, I think that's everybody, Your Honor.
Fantastic. Well, you guys have a good day and a good weekend and a Happy New Year.
You do the same, sir.
Okay, folks, so for those of you here in the courtroom, I appreciate your patience. When I call your name, you're going to come up here to the bench right in front of me, and I'm going to ask you for your rights in court form. That's the one that should have your initials in the boxes next to each paragraph, and your signature at least once at the end. Then I need to verify that at some point, this is for everybody who's appearing for their first appearance, then I need to verify that you got a copy of your ticket, which, by the way, you do not need to have here with you, or your complaint. And then it'll be time to enter a plea. As you've no doubt gleaned from watching the other proceedings, you've got 3 options: not guilty, guilty, or no contest. If you don't want to be found guilty, convicted, and sentenced, don't plead no contest, plead not guilty. In the event that you do, your case gets randomly assigned to a judge set for a trial, and you get notice by mail until unless a lawyer's representing you. And if that happens, the lawyer gets the notice, so it's critical to stay in very close contact with the attorney. Guilty plea is a complete admission of guilt. You'll waive your right to a trial, all the other rights that were discussed on that video, and if I accept your plea and enter a conviction, I'll sentence you, and we'll wrap it up today. If that's what you want to do, I'm more than happy to help you do that, because it's one less case I have to worry about. But be sure it's what you want to do, because it's hard to go backwards in the justice system. As I mentioned, a no contest plea doesn't admit guilt, but it does admit the truth of the facts that have been alleged against you, and what the facts that are alleged against you are contained in the form of police reports, witness statements, pictures, things of that nature that are all contained in your court file. So if you plead no contest and I look through your file and there's plenty of support for whatever it is you're charged with, I'm going to find you guilty, and I will enter a conviction and I will sentence you today. So if you don't want to be found guilty, convicted, and sentenced today, do not plead no contest. You all have the right to get an attorney if you like. If you're facing possible or mandatory jail time, you are eligible to ask the court to give you one for free. We're happy to do that if you qualify and you actually already have the application form because it was part of the paperwork you got when you checked in. Do not, under any circumstances, wait until the end of the day of your trial to deal with getting an attorney. And for those of you who want to hire your own, but you are in fact eligible, submit your application anyway. Because if you qualify, you're going to get a lawyer no matter what. If you're able to hire your own lawyer, that lawyer comes in and takes over, and the court-appointed attorney is off your case. But what more than often than not happens for folks in that circumstance is they call around, figure out they can't afford one, and then they do nothing until the next time they're supposed to be in court, at which time the witnesses are here and we've carved time out of our docket, and they sit at that table and look at me and say, "Judge, can I get a continuance? I couldn't afford my own lawyer." A lot of times the answer to that question is no if the case is assigned to me, because why am I giving you this lecture if I'm just going to say, well, whatever, and when you don't. So, look, if you want to get a lawyer, get one. If you don't want to get one, you don't have to get one, okay? But just don't play games. Whatever you're dealing with here, it's not just going to magically disappear if you do nothing, so take it on it, proactively and deal with it and move on with your life, okay? If you have questions, by all means, please feel free to ask when you're up here. First up today is going to be Ryan Renick. Mr. Brigden, come on up. I assume we're here to address the warrants for Mr. Renick's arrest.
Correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Renick, all the way up here.
We had a pretrial last week, I believe it was the 19th.
Mhm.
He was unavailable. He actually, I have seen he had the printout of one of the older forms that said defendant must be available by phone. That's what confused him.
Okay.
So he didn't show that day.
Okay.
So I do have good communication with him, so we've asked the court to set aside the warrant so we can reset that pretrial and jury trial date. He posted $5,000 bond, I believe, on the CRB case.
I was going to say it was an OR bond, or yeah, on the CRB case he had. What is your address, Mr. Renick?
305 West Sharon Avenue, Somerset, Ohio.
Is there a lot number?
Lot 36.
And does your mail come straight to the park, or do you have a P.O. box?
It comes straight to the park.
All right, I'll go ahead and I'll recall the warrants. Now, I'm going to reinstate the bond that the defendant posted on the criminal matter. Obviously, he'll be released on his own recognizance on the traffic case. Mr. Brigden here is going to be notified of all future court dates. It's very important that you stay in close contact with him. If you fail to do so, and the next time you're in court, you didn't bother to get in touch with him, I've been known to revoke bonds so that folks are at the jail and we know where they can be contacted, okay? So this is a 7-year-old case, I think, almost to 8. So these cases need to be resolved. He can help you do that, but it's time to quit messing around. So, any questions today, Mr. Brigden?
No, sir.
All right. You may go with the bailiff. Thank you. All right, Ashley Layman. Ms. Layman, come on up. You understand your rights in court today?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Sorry.
And did you receive a copy of the 3 complaints?
I did.
Did you read those and do you understand
I
what it
did.
is you've been charged with? So it looks like these are all out of Hebron. The first count alleges that you knowingly caused or attempted to cause physical harm to another person. This is alleged to have occurred back on November the 25th in Hebron, Licking County, Ohio. That's a first-degree misdemeanor, carries up to 180 days jail, up to a $1,000 fine. Second count alleges, same date, time, and location, that you did knowingly cause another to believe that you would cause physical harm to them or their immediate family, menacing, M4. Up to 30 days, up to a $250 fine. The last count alleges that you did, without privilege to do so, knowingly entered or remained on the land or premises of another. That's commonly known as trespass. It's also a 4th-degree misdemeanor with the same penalty. So, how do you wish to plead?
Not guilty.
And what is your current address?
1082 Elizabeth Circle.
And that's in?
Heath.
Right. Are you employed?
I am not. I have an interview on the 3rd.
And for what?
Longhorns as a host.
Okay. And is what you do, typically work in
Yeah.
food service industry?
Yeah.
All right. Where's the last place you did work?
Hampton Inn, actually.
Okay. So I've got assault, menacing, trespass. Let me take a quick look here at the file before I discuss your bond with you. Okay, so... Okay. What's his last name? Pettit.
Yeah.
All right, here's what we're going to do. I will release you on your own recognizance
Okay.
on the condition you not have any violent contact with Mr. Pettit. You don't have to have any contact with him if you don't want to, but I'm not prohibiting that contact unless it gets out of control, in which case your bond can get revoked and you
I
can be
wasn't
stuck
even
in the
there
jail.
for him.
Well, they'll have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. So,
Right.
this case is going to be randomly assigned, set for trial. You know the drill. The
Yep.
notice will get sent to you unless you get an attorney, and if you want an attorney, deal with it right away. Any questions?
No.
Then you may go with the bailiff. Thank you.
All right.
All right, next up we have Austin Bender. Good afternoon, Mr. Bender. You understand your rights?
Good afternoon, yes, sir, I do.
All righty. You've got two separate cases here. One's alleged to have occurred on November the 28th, the other one on November the 25th, so we might as well just take them in chronological order. And the case from the 25th of last month, the Heath Police Department alleged on that date in that city and in Lincoln County, Ohio, that you knowingly, with the purpose to deprive the owner of property valued less than $1,000, obtained or exerted control over that property without the consent of the owner or one authorized to consent. You're charged with the exact same thing in the other case, except that's alleged to have occurred also in the city of Heath, but on November the 28th. So you got a theft count in each charge or each case, and each of those carries up to 180 days jail and up to a $1,000 fine. You understand?
Yes, sir.
How you want to plead?
Not guilty.
And what's your current address?
I had actually just moved, so it's on that form I just gave you.
The Bird Avenue?
Yes.
Okay, well, when you sign your bond paperwork, make sure you put the address down that you want us to send your mail to. Or if you get a lawyer, you want your lawyer to send the mail to. Are you
I
employed?
do have a lawyer for,
Is it
not these ones, but it's another.
is it here in our court or is it down the street at the felony court?
Here.
Okay.
I was just here in front of you a couple weeks ago. You gave me my OR bond.
Okay. Well, you're going to get another OR bond today. Well, actually, you're going to get two of them. Who's your attorney?
Todd Barstow.
Oh, it's Mr. Barstow? Okay. If you want Mr. Barstow to be appointed to represent you on these cases, you just need to fill out one application, but with both case numbers on there, the clerk's office can give you the case numbers.
Okay,
So when you
yeah,
go down there to
that's
sign
my
your bond paperwork, just say, hey, I want to submit this, and then this is who if you want Barstow, write his name up at the top.
Perfect. That was my next question.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you're going to be released on your own recognizance on both counts, notified by mail. Now, these aren't joined together right now, and they may not be. I don't know. So whenever you get mail about any of your cases, always pay attention to what the case number is, okay?
Now I have a question. I did not receive a copy of either of those complaints. Is there any way I can get a copy?
They can give you a copy in the clerk's office before you leave.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
That's all.
Then you may go with the bailiff. Thank you.
Meet you right outside the door there.
Ashley, is it Kabali?
Yes, perfect. You did it.
Come on up. You understand your rights in court today?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember getting a copy of your ticket back in March?
Yes.
Did you remember reading it and understanding what it is you were cited for?
At the time I did, yes.
So it's alleged that it was on or about March the 7th of this year at about 1:15 in the afternoon. They claim you were driving a black 04 Mercury on Shield Street near Mount Vernon Road here in Newark and in Lincoln County, Ohio, while under what's called a non-compliance suspension. Basically, they claim that at some point in the past you were obligated to show proof of insurance. You didn't do so, and they claim that the Bureau of Motor Vehicles suspended your license for that reason. The charge itself is what we call an unclassified misdemeanor, so carries up to 500 hours community service, up to a $1,000 fine, and up to a 1-year suspension of your right to apply for a license. However, there are no mandatory minimum penalties for the offense. Do you understand?
Understood.
Yeah. How do you want to plead?
Guilty.
And did you understand the nature and consequences of entering a guilty plea based upon my explanation?
Yes.
And are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
Anything you want to say about why it took you about 9 months to get this taken care of?
I became homeless after I wasn't able to drive, or I was scared to, but I'm just kind of getting everything back together. I just found out I'm pregnant, and I don't want to go, be outside somewhere and then find me while I'm big and pregnant and have to go through the jail and stuff. So
Sure.
I just wanted to get it all cleared out.
All right. Well, congratulations on the pregnancy.
Thank you.
And you have a place to stay now?
Yes.
Okay.
I finally, everything's coming together.
All right. Now, in a perfect world, you would have insurance on that Mercury, right?
Correct.
It's
And I
a
was
perfect
just
world
going
for
home.
you because you didn't have an accident, and that's good enough for me.
Thank God.
So, $150 in costs. I'll check off proof of insurance having been satisfied. So they'll tell you how much and when it's due when you get to the clerk's office.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, thank
then
you so
you may go
much.
with the bailiff. Good luck.
Thank you.
Meet you right outside the door.
Okay.
Michael Gamel. Come on up, Mr. Gamble. You understand your rights in court today?
Yes, I do, sir.
All righty. You've got a ticket from earlier this month. You didn't show up the first time, and
Yeah,
so
I
we...
apologize with, I'm homeless and my previous mailing address, I didn't get mail to it very
Sure,
often.
sure.
and just the craziness
Is
of
that the El
politics.
Rancho address?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I now have a newer here in town address to where I
Okay.
can get hold of stuff. And then I missed it again 2 days ago, and I was like, oh crap, so I figured I better call and get my butt in here.
Okay, so here's what the deal is. I don't know what agency it is, actually. Let me look. The Licking County Sheriff alleges that on or about December the 2nd of this year, at about 4:46 p.m., you were driving a red 04 Subaru on State Route 16 in the city of Newark in Lincoln County, Ohio, while under what's called a license forfeiture. It's also alleged that you were driving that vehicle with expired registration. Now, the driver's license charge, it depends on whether they are alleging that you have at least 2 prior convictions for this type of an offense in the 3 years before you got ticketed.
Sure.
Normally,
I was going to say there wouldn't be, because I've been in Colorado for...
I was going to say, normally I
Yeah,
would get
been
a
out of state for
printout,
years,
an unofficial
so.
printout of a driver's abstract that would tell me, but since I have nothing, I have to assume that you're being charged with the least serious level of the offense, so it's an
Right.
unclassified misdemeanor,
Sure.
no potential jail, just the possibility of community service and a fine and a license suspension. The registration is a minor mistake. Yeah.
Apparently they want the fire department wants the building evacuated, there's a gas leak.
Oh my goodness.
All
All right, fellas, we're going to go off the record, but go ahead and accompany the bailiff, and he will see you out to safety, okay? We are on the record in the Michael Gamel case. It is 23 TRD 9924. I believe when I called you up, I asked you if you understood your rights, and you said yes.
Yes, sir.
Whether you got a copy of the ticket, you said yes.
Yes, sir.
And I explained to you that there's no jailable offenses that you've been charged with, correct?
Yes, sir.
And how do you want to plead?
Guilty.
All righty. And did you understand the nature and consequences of a guilty plea based upon my explanation to everybody else?
Absolutely.
All righty. And are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
No, sir.
All righty. Well, I appreciate you not taking off.
All right, no worries.
Yeah.
No, it's like I said, you know.
Hey, thanks for not running away.
I missed it, right? I missed it the day before yesterday and realized I was like, oh crap. I was like, I hope they can squeeze me in so I don't have to.
Yeah.
worry
Well,
about it,
I mean,
'cause
truth be told, if
with it being
anybody who has a warrant, they can call and say, hey, can I be added to the arraignment list in the afternoon?
Well, and I figured that's what
Yeah.
I, like first thing when I got up, got some breakfast this morning. That's what I figured. I was like, if I get on there and get in and get docket, like get
Okay,
taken care of.
so here's what we're gonna do. $100 in court costs on the driver's license offense, $25 on the expired registration, and in a perfect world, you'd have had insurance on your Subaru, right?
Yes, actually,
enough for me.
it actually does have insurance
Good.
on it. It's being
Okay.
carried by me because the vehicle was actually my sister's and she passed away back in May.
Oh,
So I'm
sorry to
fighting
hear
with
that.
probate court to get the title and stuff, which is
Gotcha.
don't have the
Gotcha.
registration.
Well, we'll give you time to take care of your fines and your costs. They'll tell you how much it is when you get down to the clerk's office, okay?
Awesome.
Hey, you have a good day.
You too.
Nice not blowing up with you.
Right? Have a great New Year.
You too. Safe one. Don't do anything that's gonna cause you to have to be back in court.
Stop.